This is the Hidden Coffee House podcast. Welcome back, everybody. It's been a minute. So I decided that we need to do an actual check-in with everything that's been going on. I didn't drop an episode last month, but that's because I was performing as Ernst Ludwig in Cabaret. So that's finally wrapped. I say finally because it was exhausting, but at the same time, I'm going to miss every single one of those people. 2 years playing Ernst Ludwig, 24 shows. It was heavy, and it was an amazing experience. And I'd especially like to thank Georgia Papanicolaou, Julie Lane, Shatterbox Theater. Of course, I need to give a special shout out to Tom Harrison and Peter Wood. Those guys were amazing. They got me into rehearsals. Phil Dowling, amazing guy. Every single one of these people are amazing human beings, every single person in that cast, and we're in a group chat, and I don't think that we're ever gonna leave each other alone, because once you've stepped into these kind of things, once you've stepped into this kind of family, it's like nothing you've ever experienced before. So if you've been nervous about acting, if you've been nervous or anything like that, had any kind of interest in theater at all, you don't have to just be on stage. There's all kinds of rules. And being a part of that family is special. So I highly encourage you, because as soon as you step into a theater, something inside you will change. I promise. And that's just like with anything we do here at One Dish Project, because the Hidden Coffee House podcast is just one of our media extensions of the One Dish Project. I am the executive director of this. And it's been a crazy 5 years now. So this December, going into January, it's going to be 6 years that the One Dish Project has been in operation. The first 2, we were just getting all of our stuff together, all of our momentum, putting together Two Row Coffee and Tea Company. That is the work that funds some of our program. That's what got everything started. And especially with our grants. Kiara, she is amazing at helping me. She is my project coordinator, because I can't do everything that I do without help. So anybody that says, hey, how do you do all this? Kiara and my wife, they are both spectacular. So I can never do anything alone. There's always a team around me. And remember that you need to build a team around you with people that are more knowledgeable than you or have more experience than you in other areas, because you never know everything. You're never going to know everything. So, yeah, especially with a project this size, because now what has happened, and this is like an official update, is we've started to put our building up. The ground has been broken and the foundation is going to be poured, and our building is going to be up in the new year. So it's going to be a space where everybody can come together. When it's hot out, we can actually do our work in there. It's going to be a place for workshops. We're going to be able to provide workshops at the garden area. So that's going up. We have 2 of our 20 by 30 gardens that are already installed. We have our garlic bed gardens. So there's momentum going on here, and it's really, really, really exciting to see this all come to fruition, because so many community members have been out to help. So many people have checked in. The people that are actually doing the construction are from the community. So everything has been sourced from our people here in Gontague. And we've had people come all the way from Toronto, all the way from Kingston, all the way from Gananoque, all from everywhere, from the county, from the north, all to come down and give a hand. And unfortunately, we have lost a couple of the people that have been a huge help. So coming this new year, when we put in the gardens, one of the people that was helping us has passed away. His name is Norman Brandt. And this guy was always there with the water. He was always there to try to give a helping hand. He was always there with his stories. He was always there with his jokes. And he was always there with a little bit of advice on how to improve things. It was great. He was an amazing man. And he was gone too soon. He was also the caretaker at the place I work at. All the students miss him, staff miss him. But the way that we're going to honor him is by naming one of the gardens after him. We're going to have a Norman Brandt Memorial Garden at the One Dish Project site to honor him and everything that he's done for us. So, Nyawa to Norman, and because of him and a lot of his help, we're able to move forward and do the things that we're doing. So in the last 3 years, we've been able to put out over 4,000 pounds of food to community members, to families. And part of our thing is we need to educate people. We need to show people how to do this organic farming. We need to show people how they can grow their own food from a tiny spot on their balcony to a little plot in their backyard to even extensive grows. Like, we just have 1 acre, but it can go bigger. It can go farther. We could have a literal food forest. So what we're doing here is we're creating a space for the community and for others to come and learn how to do these different things, because the soil and the watershed, everything like that down here in the Bay of Quinte is polluted. It's extremely polluted. So the more people we can have rejuvenating the soil, basically, through these organic farming practices, growing their food this way, then eventually we're going to have better water. We're going to have a cleaner watershed. We'll have cleaner soil. We'll have just a better quality of life. And yeah, Gontege, Tyendinaga, is in southern Ontario, one of the most populated parts of the country. But we are also at least 15 to 20 minutes away from many grocery stores, from many major grocery stores. We don't have the best access. What we have is places that try to do their best. We have about 2 grocery stores here that try to do their best and bring the healthy food to the communities. But mostly it's gas stations with junk food and frozen stuff. That's not the stuff that we need. What we're putting out at the One Dish Project is free produce for anybody that needs it. Anybody from the community. Settlers, if you need food, if you need some produce, you can pop over and you can get it from us. Just make a donation. That's it. So the energy that we're putting into this, we're going to actually have a building now. And in that building, we're going to be able to expand our teas. So you can find all of our teas at Wavy in Shannonville. That's where everything is. Coffee as well. We have, I believe, 5, 6 roasts. We now have decaf. I said I was never going to have decaf, but this decaf is sublime. So I encourage you to at least try that one out because it's great. But we have about 15 different teas. All of them are there, but we're going to have to actually be able to have them at our own building now as well. And speaking of that, I'll be able to have an office there, and I'll be able to start creating more online courses. So some First Nations, Métis, Inuit certificate courses that you can take. So for professional development, if anybody needs that, I'll have that going on. So I'm going to have access not just on the ground, but online as well, because we want to expand the knowledge so that everybody has access to it. So everybody can deepen their understanding of who the Kanien'kehá:ka are, who Haudenosaunee people are in general, but also a clearer understanding of First Nations, Métis, and Inuit people in Canada. So if you're willing to learn, or if you're on that verge of, I don't really know where to go, I don't know where to go to learn, I don't know the questions to ask, these courses will be available to you. And you'll also get a certificate, because I have those fancy letters that say, hey, you can sign it, and it's an official certificate. So there you go. But anyways, there's that. But also, on top of our food sovereignty project, on top of all of that, on top of our educational platforms and our workshops that we deliver, we also have something else that's new. So before the 2 years of Cabaret as Ernst Ludwig, I was also in The Crucible, Arthur Miller's The Crucible. I played Tituba and I played Judge Hawthorne. But before performing for Shatterbox Theater at all, I did do the variety shows, the Ganya variety shows. We did some silly stuff there. I think I played Barack Obama and talked about painting the White House red at one point. So that was funny and enjoyable. I also voiced a goat before. Did public speaking events where I opened things and closed things and just different stuff like that. So it's been fun. The arts have always been kind of a part of who I am. The past 3 years have kind of just shifted something in me, made me open up my eyes and see, hey, look at, this is the direction that you're supposed to be in. This is your path. This is what you do anyways. You stand in front of students and you have to perform for them, basically. It's 2025. Teachers are performers, and any teacher that's listening right now knows that. So kudos to all of you. And if you look into the theater world, you'll notice that a lot of the people in there are also educators. It's a release. It's an art form. It is something that just calls to you. And when things just start lining up, things just start falling into place, when you're out planting, you feel that energy. You feel that calmness. You feel that stillness. You feel all of those things around you, that life. But you also feel that when you're on stage. You also feel that when you're stage adjacent. But what's wild is, as Indigenous people, and I'm using the umbrella term here, yes, not just First Nations, Métis, I'm using the whole, Indigenous people have always been storytellers. We've always been storytellers. So at the end of the day, why not tell our stories in our own communities? Why not? And that made me think of this play that I know. Why not? Why not? And there's this character, and he says to somebody else, instead of asking yourself why, ask yourself why not. And my memory could not place where that was from. I couldn't. So it took a few weeks, and finally I found it. I found where that quote was from, and it was in the weirdest spot ever, but it made sense. It made complete sense. Things were coming together. Only drunks and children tell the truth. A character named Tonto in this story is encouraging a woman to go back home. And she's always asking herself, well, why? Why should I? Why should I? But he says, why not? Have you ever asked yourself, why not? And that resonated. And I understood what was going on here. My path was clear. Absolutely clear. The one dish project was missing one component. We have the dish. We have the dish. We're growing food. We're growing food and we're helping to grow minds. But what are we missing? Sewa Dunkwatsara. The one spoon. We were missing the spoon. We were missing that one thing that could bring the stories, that could bring the knowledge, that could bring that land-based education to life. We're storytellers. That's who we are. It's our tradition. It's what we do. It's how we've survived for thousands and thousands and thousands of years. That's how the Confederacy is still alive. That's how our law is still alive. That's how we can still trace our lineages, our clan systems. And this isn't just about Haudenosaunee people. It's not just about Ganyogehaga. This rings true throughout all Indigenous nations around the world. Our stories have helped us survive through colonialism, have helped us survive through the hardest times. And this story, Only Drunks and Children Tell the Truth, it's a dramatic comedy. It's based on such a heavy subject. It's based on a woman that was taken during the 60s scoop. She's got this whole other life somewhere else. Mind you, this is the second installation. This is the second of a trilogy. She had already been back, but now it's going back again. So, the connection between Siwadun Quatsarat Theatre, which is now a thing here in Gontege. We have our elder resident actor, Wisei Green, who's been acting for 45 years. He's been putting his heart and soul into it. Now he is our resident elder actor for Siwadun Quatsarat Theatre. He will be one of our permanent installations. I also have an assistant director to balance it out, because we have half a female cast. It's 4 characters, but it's half female. And I want to make it the most comfortable space for those performers to do their absolute best. Because I get it. You know, I've been on stage and I get it. I've also put students on stage, but this is different. This is much, much, much different. This is huge. This one is going to be staged at the Queen Anne Parish Hall here in Gontege. We've never had theater in Gontege like this before. Not staged like this. This is creating a pipeline from school to stage, because there is Strawberry Moon Theater here. We do have Strawberry Moon Theater that teaches youth stage and film how to act. And now we're going to have somewhere where they can put those skills to use. They're not going to have to go out anymore. They're not going to have to go out to Belleville or the county or, Napanee. They're not going to have to go to these different places right away. They can stay around their own people, hone in on their craft, and then go out. It's something that we need, because we have so many creative people here. We have so many artists here, and it's not just about acting. Theater is not just about acting, it's about community. And because it's about community, that's why this play screamed out to me. Only Drunks and Children Tell the Truth. It's about reconnection. It's about making hard decisions. It's about sitting with people in an uncomfortable space. It's about blatant truth. It's about, it's about the reality that we have lived through as Indigenous people across the country and into the United States, around the world. We've experienced these things, and it's talking about these things in a particular way where we can use the humor that we're so famous for, because we use humor to get through the hardest times. We've always done that. We've always used humor. We still do. That's why you can always hear laughing. You can always hear it somewhere. But going back to the community part, for us to come together, sit together, laugh together, cry together, and then have that feeling of connection and warmth at the end, where we can all sit together and reflect and know that we've been through that same history. We hold those same things. Everybody has a connection to those stories. If they didn't go through it in their own families, they know somebody that has. And it's not just somebody. It's several somebodies. So they understand that pain, that trauma, and they understand where that humor is coming from. And it's open in a certain way, and it's presented in a way so that it's not intimidating, so it's not scary, so it's not something for settler communities to come in and see and experience. because I don't want you to watch something. That's not my goal. I don't want you to come and watch something. You can go to the movies and watch something. You can go to the park and watch birds. That's watching something. An experience. An experience, you take something away. An experience, you remember. And when somebody is sitting together, when we're all sitting together in that room and the lights go down, each and every single person is having a different experience. But in the same room, without judgment, all eyes in the same place. Not a soul judging you, making you uncomfortable while you experience this. And you'll take something away. Because that's what it's about. It's not just about telling a story. It's about having people walk away feeling like they're taking something away. Like they're holding something. They're holding part of that truth that wasn't there before. It's honoring the story. I've built a team grounded in community. So it's going to be something that we need as a community to heal, but it's also something that the wider community outside of Tyndonega, outside of Gontega, needs to come and see so they can experience something, to see what it's like to sit in that humor of trauma, to sit in that space and take it in and be surrounded by people who understand and know. And I can guarantee there's going to be questions in here that you have that will be answered. Because it's not a heavy show. It's not, I mean, it is, but it's not. It's an amazing piece. It's a classic piece. And I can guarantee that anybody who comes and sees it is going to take something away, because the people that I have on board and the vision that I have and the mentor that I have are all just wonderful people, amazing human beings. So, C'est What D'un Quatsura Theater presents Only Drunks and Children Tell the Truth by Drew Hayden Taylor, June 10th to 13th and June 17th to 20th, 2026 at the Queen Anne Parish Hall. Tyndonega Mohawk Territory, go to onedishproject.com/theater. Auditions will be in January on the 25th at 6 o'clock until 8 o'clock, and February 1st from 6 o'clock until 8 o'clock at the Gunheo Public Library here in Tyndonega Mohawk Territory. So if you are in Gontega or the surrounding area, come on down, audition. We will be there waiting for you. So, moving on. I was just in London, Ontario for the Ecological Farmers Association of Ontario conference. It was their second annual, so it was really exciting to be attending as a guest. I was attending as the guest, or as the director of the One Dish Project. I met a lot of amazing people there and sat in some pretty heavy, I don't think it was meant to be heavy, but it was a heavy workshop. It was about basically saving our food. We need to all be planting. We need to all be doing something to feed ourselves, because, you know, the climate, and yeah, it was a whole thing. It's hard to watch somebody, because I get it, be so passionate about it to the point that they're almost to tears, because they can see how everything's unfolding. Like, that's why I started the One Dish Project, because we need to have food. We need to have access to food. We need to have those things to be healthier. You know, those things were stripped from us and they were taken away, not just Indigenous people, but everybody. It's happening now. You know, there's very much a let them eat cake moment happening, and it's happening in the grocery stores or in the gas stations down here with all the frozen stuff and all the junk food, and let them eat cake. So yeah, it's getting worse. our last season that we had for growing was absolutely awful. It was way too dry. So, a lot of our crops were not doing well at all. And we didn't have a ton of hands. There's only a handful of us because it was so hot. Fortunately, because of the Indigenous Peoples Resilience Fund grant, we were able to hire youth to take care of some of the grounds. But when it's that hot, there's only so much you can ask them to do. And then being out there yourself, taking care of all kinds of other things, it's hard. So again, it's great to have a project coordinator and volunteers that come and help. But that conference, I think it was a really great experience. I think that it would be really good to go and actually present there next year to show people what we've been doing and the things that we can do to build our food systems here in Gontague, how it can be replicated in different communities, and show the growth that we made from a bush, basically. It went from a bush to land where we actually grow food, and there's a greenhouse and there's a building going up and there's going to be an office, and we got the pergola and we got all kinds of stuff happening there now. So the transformation, when you look back on it, has been absolutely unreal. And I think that it's something that could absolutely be presented at the next conference. So I'll reach out to them. But it was great. There was lots about seed saving, seed rematriation, about seeds going back to the Dakotas and the Lakotas. So it was a really emotional journey for them, because they talked about having to hide and travel by night, and the realities of being, watched by the authorities, because they took our seeds away on purpose. So all of these corn seeds, all of these seeds that were hundreds and hundreds of years old, they took back to South Dakota. But the way they described it, how their elders told them, travel by night and make sure you're not seen, don't tell people what you're doing, all these warnings, they were resonant of all of the warnings that I'd gotten before, of like moving different equipment or moving different supplies or anything like that from one place to another. We had to go by night. We had to make sure we didn't tell anybody where we were going or what we were doing. It had to be, you're gone and then you appear there, and then you appear back home. You don't tell people your route. There's all kinds of different things that, like, just safety precautions, because you are being watched, because all of these things that we're trying to fight to get back were literally taken away from us. So having that reality presented for so many people there at that conference, for them to see that and for them to understand that, food sovereignty for us is actually dangerous. They don't understand that. And they had questions. But those questions were answered, because at the end of the day, everybody has a right to food. Everybody has a right to eat. Nobody has to starve. There's no reason for anybody to be hungry. None. So at the end of the day, for them to see the dangers that we have to go through just to get seeds back, but not only to get them back, but have somewhere to plant them as well. Everybody's so scared of land back, but all that means is we need somewhere to live, we need somewhere to plant, we need somewhere to grow. So afraid of land back. Yeah, where did your land come from? Where'd you get that land from? Yeah, maybe a long time ago somebody purchased it, but from who? From where? Was that even legal? We're all treaty people here. All of us. Everybody in Canada. Except for the people on unceded territory. That is a whole other discussion for you guys out there. Like, whoa. Anyways, it was very educational for me, and I'm sure it was especially educational for a lot of the settler people that were in attendance as well, because I don't think that they understand, and maybe some of you listening don't understand just how actually dangerous these things can be. So growing food sovereignty is different than food security. There's a difference. So food sovereignty is much different. We need to start growing our own food. We need to start producing our own gardens, everything. We need to have these things, and we need to start being community again. We need to start sharing these things. This is why we give out the food for free, because everybody has the right to eat. Everybody has the right. It doesn't matter how much money you have. I don't give a fuck. I don't care. Do not care. Come get food. You can have no money. You can have all the money. At the end of the day, nobody should have to pay for produce. And yeah, you can hear how passionate I am about it, because it shouldn't matter. It should not matter. And if you think it does, you need to rethink yourself. Yeah, maybe this person can go out and buy their own produce, but at the end of the day, who the fuck should have to? Again, my apologies. But at the end of the day, that's the truth. Because maybe these people that can buy their produce, that are able to buy their produce, can invest in programs that help give back to the community. And I'm not going to tell them to do that, because who am I to tell them what to do with their money? I don't care. At the end of the day, you can have whatever. Just if you're a billionaire, first, go fuck yourself. You have enough money for everybody. And second, I'm not going to tell you where to put it. I'm not, because that's none of my business. What my business is growing food, growing minds, and growing spirit. That's my business. That's what I want to do. And if you care who eats, then you have a problem. If you care who eats healthy, you have a problem. If you're against people expressing themselves in certain ways, you have a problem. You have a problem with your own spirit. Because people are allowed to like things. People are allowed to live healthy. People are allowed to eat so that they can spend their money on growing themselves. Because at the end of the day, you need money. At the end of the day, it's a colonial world. At the end of the day, capitalist society is still looming over us. So we do what we can as a community. We feed each other. We support each other. We teach each other. We learn from each other. And then we put our money to where we need to put it. Maybe it's the roof over our heads. Maybe it's the roof over somebody else's head. But it shouldn't be food. It should never be food. And as a teacher, I can tell you nobody learns when they're hungry. Every teacher will tell you if your students are hungry, they're not going to learn. And do you think if somebody out there hungry is going to have the energy to look for a job? Do you think even if they have a job and they're hungry, they're going to be able to put their energy into any of the creative work that they want to do, or laborious work? It doesn't matter. Doesn't matter what they want to do. How are they going to put their energy into something if they don't have the energy to do it? Because they have to spend all their money on food. So providing access in a food desert is absolutely necessary, because there, like I had mentioned before, so many artists, so many creative people, so many talented individuals in this food desert. Maybe they just need to eat. That's it. They need sustenance. It's one of the things that we give thanks to. Junhekwa. Junhekwa. It doesn't just mean food. It literally means our sustenance. So why wouldn't we be growing it? Why wouldn't we be doing these things? And I understand that not everybody does that. Everybody has their own gifts. Some are hunters. Some are artists. But we all have things to trade. We all have things that we can do for each other. It's 2025. Life is getting crazy. The government is taking over education even more. Bill 33 is passed. A school board up north has been taken over. There's warnings all over the place. We need somewhere like that we can all come together, like the Hidden Coffee House podcast. Because if you missed it in earlier episodes, coffee houses were the original places where you could get together, you could talk about politics, you could talk about arts, you could talk about literature, and this would be the place where you weren't persecuted to do it. That's why the One Dish Project has the Hidden Coffee House podcast. That's why we have a coffee company, all to support moving forward, growing. Because if we're going to sustain the soil, if we're going to grow the soil, we have to grow ourselves as well. We have to be better to do better as individuals. We have to take care of ourselves first so that we can take care of the land. And if we can take care of ourselves and the land, then we're doing an amazing job at taking that first step of taking care of each other. And that's what we need to do. And one of the ways that we can sit down and take care of each other is literally just by sitting together and experiencing a story. Laughing, crying, laughing again, even harder. Being weirded out probably once or twice. Laughing again. But that's just the way it is. That's what brings people together. And food. Food, laughter, and I can guarantee everybody, if you haven't been to theater, do it. Because it will change something inside you. So, moving into the 6th year of the One Dish Project with all of these different roots, literally digging into the ground, reaching out, growing. I'll be taking all of this information and sharing it at the Assembly of First Nations in February. So this is another, I guess, big step for myself and for the project in general, because we'll be taking this project onto a national platform and showing people what actual food sovereignty is, what we can do with land-based education, and how we can actually transform things into storytelling, such as our Sadumo Quetzalcoatl theater. We can connect all of that back to the land. We can connect it back to growing, because from seed to plant, from seed to harvest, that's exactly what being in theater is too. So at the end of the day, we'll be taking that over there. I'll also be attending York University to talk about the win that I had over the Ontario College of Teachers, who are still very annoying to work around. They're posting things on the public register in odd order. I think at this point they're just fucking with me. So whatever, power to them. I don't know if they know how to regulate anything anyways. So anyways, power to them. They're doing a great job and I love them so much. Anyways, I hope to see everybody out in June, because that is going to be an amazing piece. I really look forward to seeing this staged. It's going to be, I intentionally chose the Queen Anne Parish Center. It's symbolic, but it's also representative of reconciliation. So it's not trauma porn. It's reconciliation. It's about reconnecting. It's about growth. It's about humor. Yeah, it is dramatic, but anything with an Indigenous storyline, there's going to be some trauma in there, because we have been fucked around with for hundreds of years. So what better thing to do than laugh about it? So come on out, laugh about it, because it is going to be funny. It is going to be great, but we haven't cast it yet. So come out to casting. And that is, again, on January 25th, 6 o'clock to 8 o'clock, and February 1st, 6 o'clock to 8 o'clock, Gunhiote Public Library, Tyendinaga Mohawk Territory. So that is the Hidden Coffee House podcast for this little bit. I thought I would come in, update everybody, and let you know what's happening, because big things are happening. Huge things are happening for the One Dish Project, and this is the platform that I'm using to make all of the announcements for it. Yeah, you can follow social media. That's great. But here I get to actually tell you. But make sure you follow One Dish, One Spoon on Instagram, on Facebook. Make sure you follow Sewadu Kwatsura Theater on Instagram and Facebook. And if you don't know how to spell that, it is in the description of this podcast. So you can copy that, stick it into your search engine or your search bar, whatever you want to call it. Yeah. Okay. So follow those pages. Make sure you watch out for auditions because they're coming up. We'll hope to see you out there. We have a great production planned. And that's the Hidden Coffee House podcast for now. I'm Sataka Yondo. Follow me on Instagram at AndrewBrant87. Good night and guanarunkwa.
Caminando me canta el sensontle, voy sanando un poco mi dolor. Se oscurece la sombra del monte, voy tranquilo sin una razón. Caminando acompaño al sensontle, vuela encima de mi canción. Caminando me canso en el monte, voy tranquilo con mi corazón. ¿Para qué caminar sin camino? ¿Para qué la nostalgia en la flor? ¿Para qué andar buscando destino? ¿Para qué acompañar mi canción? Al camino por camino y al amor por el amor. Paso firme, camino el camino, recordando lo que queda atrás. Los amores, la música, el vino y las musas que pronto vendrán. Paso firme, recorro en el filo de la vida, entre el bien y entre el mal. Los caminos nos llevan distinto y yo sé que ya no volverás. ¿Para qué caminar el camino? ¿Para qué la nostalgia en la flor? ¿Para qué andar buscando destino? ¿Para qué acompañar mi canción? Al camino por camino y al amor por el amor. ¿Para qué caminar el camino? ¿Para qué la nostalgia en la flor? ¿Para qué andar buscando el destino? ¿Para qué acompañar mi canción? Al camino por camino y al amor por el amor.